This week's episode is brought to you by the local 218.
Water moccasins, rattlesnakes in some places, just all black widows, brown, just poison shit everywhere.
That is all a hard pass.
Nope. Give me a hard freeze in the winter to get rid of all that.
Yeah. It took me 5 years of living here to be able to walk through the woods without looking at my feet to make sure I don't step on any snakes.
My son came up from the basement the other night and he's singing a song. He's like, hey, if you see a spider, you could just go upstairs. And it's like, that's exactly what you should be singing right now. If you see one, dude, just go upstairs. You don't have to hang around that spider.
You owe him nothing.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast coming at ya from the local 218 studios. I'm here with my brother.
I ate absolute shit.
Yes, you did.
Absolute idiot. That's our running joke. We're off the hair. We went strong on the nobody sees my hair, and now we're back to I absolutely ate shit, which is better or worse than my cat farted on me.
I think my cat farted on me. Just the delivery of it makes it better.
I think it was mainly just that.
It was like, hey, this happened.
Well, we were actually not talking about anything. And then he was just like, by the way, my cat farted on me. Anyways, that's the Councilman Gabe Johnson.
Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, my good friend?
Oh, excellent. I've been watching documentaries. Ready to talk. Ready to talk.
Ready to talk. Well, should we just skip right past and move on? Or you got anything good
Let's
to talk
move on.
about?
Let's go.
Youth sports are good?
Youth sports are still young and sporty.
Yep. I think we're going to officially make you our youth sports correspondent.
Okay, yeah. I can check in on how the Brainerd Utes are doing every once in a while.
All right. And with us this week, we've got a fan of the podcast, but also specifically reached out for the conversation about American Movie, which is an amazing documentary. One, Mr. Steven McKnight.
Hello.
I like to call you McKnight. Is that the right way to do it?
Oh, man. People call me Dark McKnight is a popular one.
Okay.
They call me Mac Knight down south. Stephen Mac, it's McDonald's down there too. So
but I'm a big fan of Mac Tonight. That's the old Moonhead that ended up being, they got sued for it, of course, because totally ripped off the dude's song without even asking him if they could do it. Was it like Bo Diddley or something like that? Yeah. So anyways, Steven, on the podcast, we have a little thing. It's called, you have 30 seconds to explain yourself. Go.
Ooh. Let's see. I, up until recently, was the owner of Open City Thrift in downtown Brainerd. Secondhand clothing, used records. I moonlight as DJ Steve Naive, throwing dance parties all over the Brainerd Lakes area. Husband, father, musician, lover, poet.
Hopefully in that order.
Very last poet.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to say, though, that one of the things you told me before we got started was that you actually went to a private Christian school. And was that in Tennessee?
Yeah, that was in Nashville, suburbs of Nashville.
That's crazy. I had no idea about any of that information about you.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Nashville, lived there till I was in my early 20s when I moved up here, 15 years ago or so.
The hell were you doing that for?
Something like that.
Moving up here.
For a girl. What
else?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it happens.
She wanted to get out of the South, and I thought it was like a funny idea to live in Brainerd. I had this weird, punk rock dream. They're like, oh man, if we go to a small town, we could start like a punk scene, and it could be like this it could be like Olympia in the 80s.
All right.
And that, didn't really happen. And I never thought I would live here for more than 3 years.
But I'll tell you one thing about my beautiful city as the mayor of Brainerd. It just gets you. It gets you and pulls you right in. And now you're here forever. You're probably never going to leave.
Yeah, kind of like Hotel California.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible song. Let's talk about that real quick.
God.
I hate.
Don't get me started.
I hate Hotel California. Are you a fan or not fan?
I despise that song.
Okay, now we're on track.
So, there's a very specific Hotel California that I hate. It's not the recorded version. It was one of their many reunions. I think it was their first reunion in like the mid-90s.
Sure.
And there's a VH1 video of them doing this long, wanky acoustic version of it, and it is absolutely insufferable.
Yeah.
It goes on for so long. The bongos come in, and you get a little crowd cheer from that, and then the guitar riff starts.
Oh, when you get the line, yeah.
And every little thing that happens is just like, yeah. Oh, God.
It's the equivalent of like, and on the drums is Peter.
Yeah.
All the fans are excited for. Gross. No, okay.
Yeah, terrible.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll probably like that version better because I despise Hotel California.
Yeah,
I don't know why I just do. It's one of those songs that just eats at my soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the other one we were talking about that absolutely just destroys me?
Eddie Vedder, the Pearl Jam song.
Pearl Jam. Well,
or the Pearl Jam's version
of Buddy Holly's whatever that song is called.
Where?
Yeah.
Last Kiss?
Yeah, Last
Yeah.
Kiss, yes.
Oh, with you on that one too, man. And I was a huge Pearl Jam fan, and I was kind of moving into other types of music when that came out, and I was like, what happened here?
Yeah, it's not a good song when Buddy Holly did it. It is insufferable when Pearl Jam does it, and it happened at Scott's wedding, and I got up and walked the fuck out of the room. I was like, I can't do it.
Did Rick request it by chance?
Oh, probably. Yeah, just the worst. Anyways, all right, so welcome. And so this week we actually we held off a week on talking about the documentary American Movie because you reached out to me and said, like, can I please come on the podcast and talk about American Movie?
200 episodes in, I had to beg to get on my friend's podcast.
Well, don't worry, because I just got asked if one of our local representatives could come on the podcast, and I said, can I just give you a little bit of advice? No, you do not want to come on my podcast. That's how you get in trouble. You're going to come on here?
You can.
You can.
You don't want to.
I'm not going to recommend that you as a politician come on here. I somehow snake by because I'm an idiot, but, we don't need to be throwing everybody else under the bus.
Yeah.
So huge fan of documentaries. I am myself. And we have been holding off on having a documentary podcast because I guess we were just waiting for, somebody to die. So here we are. Just give us a brief rundown of what happened with American Movie and why we actually are going to talk about it.
Do we need to give a little synopsis of American Movie, or are we gonna leave?
So I think we'll get into like what all it is, but like what was the significance of why it was even being talked about?
I've watched it twice. I don't think there is a synopsis possible.
That's very true. That's part of my love for it. The heart and soul of the movie, Mike Schank, passed away 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Which was how it came up, and is one of the sweetest, most lovable characters in film history. Just an absolutely simple, sweet guy. Partially because he has a lot of brain damage from drug use. He's a recovering drug addict. So he's just kind of this sweet Wisconsinite. He's got long curly hair and a mustache. He's like a metalhead. And, and he was such a I think we talked about in the DVD release of American Movie, he put his personal phone number in there. So that it's just anybody. I mean, this movie was Grand Jury Prize at Sundance. Yeah. Roger Ebert was a big champ. It was a big movie. Yeah. And you could just call Mike Schank and talk to him, and you just, hello, it's Mike.
He probably said, hey, do you like vodka?
Yeah, vodka?
That's some vodka?
Vodka with a T. Well, he likes drinking vodka, and I like drinking vodka.
So we became friends because he wanted to drink vodka.
Nobody wanted to get as hammered as I did.
So before we even get started, Scott, what's your take on the movie?
Boring. I can snooze fast.
Oh, man.
So, we just got to throw that out there right away so the audience knows that not all fans of the movie American Movie.
Sit in the corner or something.
But I appreciate that because we have to have someone that despises it as much as I despise freaking Hotel California and whatever the hell that other song is called. I won't even... That song that has no name. So my experience with this movie is that I can't remember exactly when I was introduced to it. If it was most likely in film school, because that's all we did was watch these crappy documentaries and stuff, like weird
That's
stuff.
what you do in film school. You watch a bunch of shitty fucking movies.
Oh, you want to know what the worst experience of film school was? We had a teacher
Watching this movie. Watching this movie.
No, even worse. There's the oh God, what is it? The Talking Heads. They have that concert documentary.
Stop Making Sense.
Okay, Stop Making Sense about the big pants, right? So it's an okay documentary if you watch it. We watched it in class over like 3 days with our instructor stopping it like every 30 seconds to talk about something. And so it was like 3 days straight of just slowly descending into madness where it's like, dude, you're talking about scaffolding in the background of a concert that we are watching a documentary film of. It was just, it was unbelievable. Highly do not recommend that experience. Do you want to know what the second worst thing about film school was?
Please.
It actually was art school as well, and we had to do the nude models.
As is, of course, the tradition.
Which, as a young, strapping young man, 19 years old, I was like, here we go. No, they don't. You're not getting the high quality nude models coming into your, private college. It was some lady that I'm pretty sure was just hanging out with a cigarette outside. It was like, yeah, absolutely.
Adidas caliber, you're saying.
Absolutely, I would love to do that. And the first thing she did was she took off her robe, and then she had to get loose. No, we were going to do some gesture drawings. I was like, let's not gesture draw anything. So two interesting experiences from that. But I'm not sure if that was when I was introduced, or if it was Matt Fargo, who's one of our buddies that is big into documentaries. He introduced me to a bunch of these things as well, where he's just like, hey, you got to check this out. I can't remember which one it was, but I had completely forgot about it. I had not thought about this movie in probably 10 years. And then I saw that Mike died, and I was like, oh my God. And immediately I went online and started watching it because I absolutely love it. I think Scott's crazy. I think it is slow and boring, but that is why it's amazing.
So you sent it over to me.
Yep.
That the day Mike died, and I watched it. And the first time through, somewhat like Napoleon Dynamite, the first time through, I just sit there and stare at it, trying to figure out what the hell is going on for an hour and a half. But then when I watched it for the second time, there are some classic bits in there. I mean, Mike, absolutely love Mike. But I think my favorite part of the movie is when Mark's doing the math on how many Coven he needs on the whiteboard. He's like, I have 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And he tries to wipe away everything but 3,000. But he also wipes off everything. Clears off the whole damn board.
Oh, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry for erasing that.
Scott is not even remotely laughing.
I don't recall that part. There's blacked out most of the movie.
There's so many things like that where it's just perfectly encapsulates a time and place, and it is like what 1995 Wisconsin.
7 was the Super Bowl.
Okay, So 1997 Wisconsin, and you could convince me that it's all fake because the characters are just so perfectly rounded, even down to the. So to give a basic synopsis of the movie, so everyone is aware now that we've been talking about it for 20 minutes. At some point, this guy decides he's going to make a movie, right?
The movie starts with him in pre-production of a movie.
Pre-production of a movie. Somehow that gets to a guy that wants to make a documentary, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll film this guy that's going to make this low budget film. And immediately the wheels fall off the wagon, and we are no longer making that movie. We are instead going back 7 years to when I started making a movie and didn't finish it, and we're going to use the proceeds from that to pay for this bigger movie that he wants to make, which immediately makes you think, well, that ain't gonna fucking work. And you slowly watch this process of can he actually make
the artistic process of filmmaking?
Oh, yeah.
Emphasis on slowly.
So talk about. Steve, I want to hear you talk about like what do you love about that movie?
It's it's just inspirational to me. Like as an artist, I was kind of moving from being a musician in Nashville, where everything's very corporate and everybody's trying to get signed to a label and have an image, and learning more about like DIY punk culture and making all your own stuff and just doing it yourself. And to see a guy who so clearly is going to fail at what he's doing. So clear. This guy is way out of his depth. He's super knowledgeable about film.
Yeah.
Super knowledgeable.
Insanely knowledgeable, yeah.
Symbolism, the mechanics of how to make it. It's pretty remarkable to watch, even though the movies are horrible and low budget and whatever. The guy's got the passion, and you want people like that to succeed.
Yep.
And it's kind of like Jiro Dreams of Sushi, where it's like, if I really want to be great at something, this is the kind of effort I need to put in. Because on top of getting a film made, which is always very hard, he's broke, he's in debt, he owes back child support, baby mama left him and is trying to take his daughters, he's an alcoholic. The guy's got everything working against him, and he just works and works and works, and ultimately succeeds. He finishes the movie, they show it in a theater. It's somewhat of a success story. Obviously, the big success story is more about the documentary about it. Have you guys watched Coven, the actual film?
I don't remember if
it's
I have
on
or
YouTube.
Not. Is it?
It's worth watching. So
I bet you I would like that more than the documentary.
It's great, man. Just 16 millimeter black and white, grainy B horror with just local actors and like his friends and his mom. You know, it's all like a family thing. But when I originally watched it years ago, I was just like, oh, this is just crappy, low budget. I can't. But watching it now, you know, it's about him joining a recovery group that ends up being like a cult. It's called Coven, by the way, spelled like Coven, but he insists that it's
Gonna
Coven.
put the umlauts on there.
Gotta be Coven. He said, no, Coven sounds like oven. I don't want my movie to sound like oven. Which it says a lot about his who he is in the documentary. Of this guy who doesn't trust recovery programs. He doesn't trust people with 9-to-5 jobs. He wants to live like a movie director and not get stuck in a small broke town. He wants out of that, and he's really dedicated to it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because that's what his whole character arc in life is, that like, I want the American dream. And he says that multiple times, like, I want the American dream, and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to get it. And then he just sits there and struggles to try and do that. I mean, by all accounts, you would call the guy a loser if you were to like write it on a script. Like, this guy's a loser. He lives with his parents. He's got a tiny little twin bed, you know, and it all, and for all purposes is, I wouldn't even call him a high functioning alcoholic. I would just call him straight up, he's an alcoholic.
He's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's from, well, yeah, that's a different, it's a different breed over there. Hey, screw you, Wisconsin. You know what? I'm okay with that. What did we say the last time? It was like, if you're not okay with that, shut us off. If you're from Wisconsin, just shut us off. Get out of here, cheeseheads. And by the way, congratulations on your football team. Go Pack, go.
That's the other great thing about the documentary is there is always a Packers game on the TV.
Yes.
And the timing of it.
So many times.
Yes.
The timing of it is that the documentary takes place in a year where Brett Favre and the Packers went and won the Super Bowl. The background of it all, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so in the interest of trying to like move us forward so that we don't get too bogged down in everything, just the journey that you go on with this guy is really inspiring. I would agree to that. But it's more, to me, like, for me, it was like, I know these guys. These are the people I went to college with.
Right.
Like, these are all, like, everyone that went there was like a little too nerdy about film, a little too, like,
they all had brain damage from too much drugs.
Well, we all knew that guy. He didn't quite make it. But I think that's, to me, the characters are the best. Like, Mike in the movie clearly has brain damage and is just lovable because he's just kind of existing, but yet at the same time, like, realized, hey, I can't do drugs anymore, and then successfully, like, does not, at least in the film, continually says no to
he never
substance
stopped.
abuse, which is great.
Yeah, up until he just posted on Facebook about 27 years of sobriety before he died.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, that kind of restraint in Wisconsin drinking culture, that means a lot. That's tough sobriety.
That's one of my all-time favorite parts of that movie is when he comes in and he's won $200 off of scratchers. and he says, "I've got $20." He just brings $20, and he tells the camera this before he goes in. I just have $20 because I don't want these guys to take it from me. And then he tells the guy he's got $20, and what's he say, Gabe?
Let's go down to the bar and buy 5 pitchers of beer.
And the guy doesn't drink, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to do that." And he's like, "Well, you buy them, I'll drink them.
You can watch me drink them."
Yeah, he says, "I don't want to buy beer."
Yeah.
And the other guy says, "Well, I don't want to either. But if you buy them,
Yeah.
I'll drink them."
And this is while the Super Bowl's going on.
Yeah, he
in
wants
their
to leave in the middle of the Super Bowl.
And it's 1997. So they're
Yes.
watching on a 13-inch TV on the
In their-
countertop in
in
mom's
their
kitchen.
Yep. Yeah. And then,
I also don't want to buy beer.
but
But if you do,
yes, if you,
I'll drink them.
You enjoyed them.
hey you who are recovery, how about you take that $20 and let's go down to the bar and you just keep buying me pictures and I'll get drunk while you sit there and enjoy my company.
Yeah, and watch the Super Bowl.
Hey, meanwhile, it's taken me 7 years to make my film. The other characters that are fantastic in it are his uncle,
Uncle Bill, yeah.
yes, who is just older than sin
And believed in him.
Well, I would say so much believed in him as at the
He
point.
left him money in his will. He financed the original picture. He believed in him.
I will say this. I will say that by the time the film starts, you can tell that this process has gone on a few too many
7
times.
years, yeah.
A few too many times where
Yeah.
he comes asking for money. But just a lovable character where he's just like,
Well,
you know.
he's like a existential guru, like a dark. I don't even know how to describe everything he talks about. He's like, yeah, well, we'll see. Well, I don't have too many years left. No, it's so negative. And he's like,
Yeah.
hey, Uncle Bill, your $3,000 you gave me is going to be put to good use, and a ton of people are going to show up to the film. And he's like, yeah, who? who's going to want to watch this? Just fundamentally negative and sardonic, and he's just great. But yeah, he did. He had a chunk of money, and $3,000 probably wasn't much, and he needed somewhere in the realm of 30 or 40 for the full length he was trying to do. Uncle Bill dies a few months after the short was finished, and he left him $50,000 in his will. That's, man. Wrap up that story. That's incredible.
Yeah, the other characters that I really liked were the two actors that are in it predominantly. You've got the one that at one point is smoking a cigarette and is like, I got to give these guys a hard out of when I got to leave because otherwise I'm just going to be here all night. And I was like, that's absolutely what's going to happen because every time you show up, much like at this podcast, every time you show up, something is going to not work.
Yeah.
And it's going to take 4 hours longer than it was supposed to just to get started. But that guy I really enjoyed, and then the super over the top eccentric actor as well, where you're just like, oh, you
The eyebrow archer.
yes, you exist. But the part where they go to take pictures for the poster or whatever, or for the VHS cover or whatever they're taking the pictures for, and the guy is just annoyed because he can't wear his cape.
Yeah. He's like, I'm getting cold out here. Can I put my cape back on?
Fine, put the cape.
He's got like a tweed jacket on underneath it.
There's so many points like that where I'm just like, there's no way somebody didn't write that. Where it's just like, because that is exactly what that guy would do.
Yeah.
That dude is just living just a character. He is a what am I trying to say? A caricature. Oh my gosh! Here we go again.
What was the a burglary ring?
Yes,
Burglary.
Another burglary ring.
It's impossible
incident.
to say burgle. Ring.
He cannot say burglary
I
ring.
can't say burglary.
Wow.
It's impossible. I can't say it.
And you have your own podcast. Nonetheless, you've overcome the odds.
The acid is kicking in. So I love the movie. There's so many bits and pieces where it's just they're tiny little clips that should be all over our current day and age, because that's all we are, is just consumers of clips. And that movie is just meant for those clips.
The whole thing.
It's so good. Where they put the dude's head through the cabinet. So they're getting ready to film a scene where he's going to bash the guy's head through a kitchen cabinet. And they go outside and they score, which is where you make a little cut on the back of this cabinet, and they score it. And I look at it and I go, well, that's about 1/4 inch. That looks like oak.
Yeah, these are old solid wood oak cabinets.
Yeah.
You cut 1/4 inch off of the back of that cabinet. That's not going to work. And then they sit there and keep smashing this guy's head into a cabinet. Meanwhile, that's the guy that's smoking the cigarette saying, I got to give him a hard out because everything goes wrong.
Surprised you remember.
Yeah.
And then they have to take it back outside and do a little more sawing on
Twice.
it. Bring it back in.
He's smashing it with his knee.
Man.
That's unbelievable.
Hard hits, yeah.
Unbelievable. So give it just a quick wrap up on that, and just, final thoughts on American Movie.
The reason that movie sticks with me, in a creative sense first and foremost, but there's like a socioeconomic element to it too, of like a guy who is super passionate, super knowledgeable, and just lives in a place where there are not the resources to support his dream and what he's doing. And the American dream aspect of it, Bruce Springsteen famously said, I've spent my career measuring the distance between the American dream and the American reality. And that's what they're living. They're not in Hollywood. Even though the guy's movie is not great, his passion he should have gotten some funding from somewhere. He should have had support.
There are worse things.
Milwaukee in the mid '90s was no hub of independent film. It was I'm thinking about on a daily basis how many people in flyover America, so-called, don't get that because they don't have the resources they need.
Well, and a lot of it gets into as well as that's where he's from, and that he's not going anywhere. Like that's like for his American dream is being where he is and then building himself up on his own. Right. He wants to build that himself, and being there is a hindrance to the process. Just like every time they get started and something goes wrong during the film shoots, that's how every piece of this guy's kind of thing is. And a lot of it is self-inflicted. You see that with the alcohol and stuff. A lot of it is self-inflicted, but his ability to just keep pushing himself to keep doing it, even if it takes 7 years. I said this to Keith Larson a long time ago, quite a few years ago. Most people never do anything in their life. And so if you do anything, the majority of people, when you're done with it, will applaud you for doing it because they won't take the time and effort to do it. They're too scared, or they just don't have the wherewithal to continue forward with it. So if you just do it, whether it's good or not, write the novel. And if it's the worst novel ever, who cares?
Yep.
Write the film script. Scott and I have a film script that we wrote back, I was probably like 24, 25 years old.
Yeah, I don't.
Same age.
I don't think I was
Involved
of the legal drinking age.
Yeah, so a film script should be about 1 page per minute. This was 260 pages.
Wow.
And it was
We've got a trilogy here, boys.
I haven't went back and read it. I'm afraid.
Is it
to.
franchisable?
No, it was just supposed to be a buddy road trip comedy. And it's about video games. They're going to a video game tournament, and it was like I'm 25 years old. I was like, this is gonna
Kingpin of video games.
This is gonna be great. It's exactly what it is. I guarantee that it is very inappropriate by today's standards. There's no way that any of it is.
In hindsight, we wrote in too much blackface.
Yeah.
You say that, but one of the characters' name was Asia, and he's Asian. And the bit is the bit is just that everything
I'm
about
reaching for the red button.
Everything about him is the one dude just has nothing but racial stereotypes for him, and he's just not that person, and that's what the whole bit of that character was. And it was based off of a guy that I went to high school with that was a foreign exchange student from Germany, and I just called him Germany, and he just every time I'd say it, he'd just go, America? Like it just like
yeah.
dumbfounded, like how stupid are you? But
I'm America, stupid buddy.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so if you can imagine, 260 pages of just probably unbelievably inappropriate.
Just
So,
a buddy sort of road movie that's 4 hours and 20 minutes long.
yeah, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's like just scenes where you're just basically using 4 characters to be one voice, which is what you do when you're not a very good writer.
Right.
You're saying the same thing through 4 people. They just take turns having
Yeah.
sentences. Yeah, I guarantee that it's not good. I guarantee that it's not good.
Now that I sit here and think about it, having an Asian character named Asia is a little bit funny. I'm gonna back up and say that it could be funny.
He's not actually
Done
named
correct.
Asia. It's just the one guy refuses to call him anything but
okay.
Asia.
So that's not funny at all. I've changed my
Somebody
mind.
was just being an absolute
Yeah,
asshole
no,
the entire
that's,
time.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
If it was a state or something, and someone's like Tennessee, but
Well, my
country.
my humor on it wasn't even like a specific. It was just generalized region is all he was calling him. Is like
Right.
you are generalized
Right.
region, and that was supposed to be the humor of it. Like I said, I guarantee you that it's not funny. I guarantee that it's not. So it's somewhere though. It exists somewhere. So that's going to be what happens to me. That's how I'm going to get canceled as mayor. Is all of a sudden someone's just going to stand up at a podium at the public forum and just start reading
a 240-page script. Do a filibuster and read the
filibuster right
entire
there,
thing. Yeah.
You got 3 minutes, sir. All right. Well, Gabe, final thoughts on American Movie.
Yeah, after completing it, I looked at it as kind of the Gen X American dream, right? This guy wanted to make a film. He went out, he set his mind to it. He made the damn film. He did it with outside the confines of the cozy corporate America. Or he could have gone to Hollywood and done something, but he did it his way. And he stayed in Milwaukee. He stayed with his family. I mean, he needed his mom to come out in the woods and film him sometimes, right?
Which is also great.
And edit the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did it. He achieved the American dream. Is he still poor and living in his mom's basement? Maybe. But financial resources aren't the entire.
Yeah.
That's not what we live for. We're not living. We're not slaves for money. He wants to make a film. He made a film. God bless him.
And I think
he achieved that dream.
I think more of anything, he's the type of guy that when he gets to the end, he wants to say, I did that. I was going to do that. I said I was going to do that. I didn't just leave Coven on the cutting room floor. We just finished it. It's an inspiration. Scott, your take.
Boring. You guys haven't changed my mind. I still think what I watched was incredibly boring.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's great. I'll find some clips and just send you the clips because then you can skip all the in between stuff.
Well, that's what happened because I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I watched it in like 9. It was like
Sure.
It was like 11 parts or something, like 9 minutes at a time. And yeah, so now anytime I go on YouTube, I keep seeing little clips, and I've tried watching these little clips, and
This is going to be in your
even in
recommendations
in
forever.
1 minute form, I get halfway through it, and I'm like, nope, next.
Oh, and it's in your algorithms forever now.
yeah.
They think that is your favorite
It's an
movie.
American movie appreciator.
Yep. And I'm gonna keep clicking on them too.
Yeah.
Especially because of the way that YouTube works. Like you just kept like feeding from the trough.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you like that 9 minute clip? Here's another one. 11 times over. And then now it's showing you other little pieces and you've went back to the trough. You're for the rest of your
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
For the rest of your life.
All
Kids are
kinds
gonna
of
be watching
documentaries about random hicks doing random hick shit. That's all you're going to get now.
There should be a documentary about Scott's life now that his YouTube algorithm is just American Movie.
He's still making a pizza.
He is making a pizza. So we're actually coming up to the end of the episode here, but we did say we were going to talk about other documentaries super fast. So I'm going to let you guys throw out just real quick a favorite documentary that you have. Scott, do you have one?
No.
Okay, there we go. I figured so much. God, you are much like the movie American Movie. Scott is playing very well into the role that he has established for himself at the beginning.
Yes.
Gabe, do you have a favorite documentary?
Still World War II in color.
Okay, yep.
Wow.
Which I got into the other day, and the color really does it. It's
It's the
color.
war that I
Yeah.
like.
I could go either way, honestly.
Mr. McKnight.
Oh, Hoop Dreams, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the all-time best documentary.
See, that was what I was talking about. Was right. There's just ones you just don't remember.
Oh, that movie changed my life. It's incredible. It's the most engrossing 3-hour movie.
You are very much
watch.
into the dream. You are into this.
I am
what is
into
the dream and going to accomplish the dream?
Because I lose faith in the dream every day with self-doubt and imposter syndrome. I need to feed myself with people who can overcome odds and do things like get basketball scholarships when you grew up in the inner city and you have an absent crackhead father and all that. Like I need to see people who have worse circumstances than me and end up doing better than me and achieving that. It's a fantastic documentary. It took them 6 years to film that. It was supposed to be
almost as long as COVID.
Yeah.
30 yeah. Supposed to be
It's all right.
a 30-minute.
Okay. We've got something to live for.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's
We need that one as a drop.
We do need that as a drop.
That's great. Yeah.
A great pick for sure.
Yeah.
I am quite the opposite. So I'm going to pick the movie Grizzly Man because I'm quite the opposite. I am an optimist who goes out and does a lot of things and then
gets eaten by bears.
Yeah. Oh, solid.
As the mayor, I can tell you right now, sounds great, sounds awesome. I hate my fucking phone now. Every time it rings, I want to smash it into the ground because even this morning I was like, my garbage has tipped over, and I want you to come by and just God bless you. I love you, all of my constituents. I love you, but at the same time, like just once, I want to answer my phone and have someone be like, you know what, Dave? We're making this movie. We've got a perfect role for you in this movie, and it's not getting eaten by the bear. So, I think this is a good place to stop. But I have brought with me, since we're talking about movies, this is a book that I got from one of my buddies. We were at his house, and they had brought up a box of books that were from college days or whatever it was, and this was his college, the 5th edition of Acting 1 by Cohen. Not Coven, Cohen. And I saw this and I said, may I please have that? Because the acting, not 101, just acting 1. We're starting right at the beginning.
On the 5th edition.
On the 5th edition.
had to start over.
Of acting 1.
4 times.
It should be acting 5.
Or at least 1.5. Yeah. Something. And I grabbed it and I was like, there's no way this isn't good. And I haven't gotten deep into it, but I did open it up, and the first page it opened to just says rude chants. And so we'll end the pod. Rude chants. And so we will together take
to
this,
play us out.
To play us out, we will take this exercise, which it says, in this impolite exercise, the point is not to giggle or pretend you're saying something else, but rather to allow your voice the freedom to say at full volume and with clear speech the sort of words you don't usually say in public. So this is the first.
So just racial slurs.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Together we will say, kill, 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 kill. Barf, 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 barf. Penis, 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 penis. Urine, 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 urine.
Oh my.
Try also. Testicle, 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 testicle. Copulate, 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 copulate. Intercourse, 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 intercourse. Masturbate, masturbate, masturbate.
You're not supposed to laugh.
And with that, Steven McKnight, thank you for coming on the podcast.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Over to Gabriel Johnson.
Thank you, Dave. It's always fun.
And thank you to the Boutros, Scotty Pizza.
It's in the book.
You had to read it to believe it.
100% in the book. I love how it goes from copulate to intercourse to masturbate. Just so right down
testicle, copulate, intercourse, masturbate.
I'm not used to saying those in public.
And with that, we're done.
Yeah, and on the next page, you get to mix them all together. Chant a cheer of "Kill, barf, penis, urine."
Oh yes.
Do the same with testicle, copulate, intercourse, masturbate. And that's so rude chants, then rude cheering, and right after that, fancy talk. All right, from rude cheering to fancy talk.
Yeah. Masturbate.
Yeah.
Copulate.
Yeah.
Balls.